Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com.
And I'm Bob. How's it going?
Bob and I are here today to do our very first 2026 ski comparison. This always marks an exciting time of year. We love doing these comparisons, and it also means that we're getting closer and closer to ski season, Bob.
That is generally the indicator.
Yeah.
People definitely comment like, this is it.
Yeah.
It's
well,
happening.
it feels like it because
Yeah.
we'll do these. So what's today? August 15th or
Yep.
something like that. So middle of August right now. And we will probably do these comparison videos for the next like 3 to 4 months.
Right.
So there's a good chance that we start it today, and by the time we do our last 2026 ski comparison, we will already be skiing.
We'll be skiing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So kind of an exciting thought. And Bob and I were just chatting about it before we turned the camera on. We've been doing these for a long time now. They started as kind of an uncertainty, just an idea, and they've turned into a really big, I'd say, important thing that we do each season. So it's kind of been cool to see the progression.
Yeah, it's always fun looking back on young Jeff standing here in front of a white wall.
Yeah.
With 6 skis still wrapped in plastic, and
Yeah.
we've come a long way.
I've probably told the story before, but these started because we ran out of ideas for content. And I was basically chatting with our coworker, Matt, and I was like, what if I just walked around the warehouse and went and got like 6 different skis and then just talked about the differences between them?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that could work. And that's literally what I did. And then now it's turned into like we do like, what, 15, 20 of these a year?
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm excited for the 2026 comparison series or season, whichever you want to call it. It'll be, it'll be very, very similar to what we've done in the past, but we are going to break things down a little bit further, particularly from the 90, to 100 millimeter width range. I think in that range, we've done 4 videos in the past, and this year we're going to break it into 6. So really kind of diving deep into that middle swath. But we're going to start today with the Mid-100 Freeride category, which I think is a very fun place to start. I feel like we've started with this one once before, but I'm not 100% sure about that. It just feels like we have. And we're also going in one of our favorite progressions or orders here. I know in the past, we've done a lot of Slarvy to Carvy. This one, we're going to go Carvy to Slarvy, and I think most people are familiar with those terms, but there's a few different ways to think about it if you're not. So kind of like more precise to less precise, more prone to want to carve, and less willing to carve. You know, I think there's several different ways you could describe it.
Yeah, and in general, kind of when you look at the tails, there's more of a progression in the tails going from flatter to more bent. There are some exceptions, your 106 Ti from Armada there.
Yeah.
But in general, that's kind of an indicator of whether a ski is more willing to wiggle at the tail end of the turn.
Yeah, willing to wiggle is a good one. Yeah. Unwilling to wiggle to willing to wiggle. That's the progression. Anything else you want to say before we get started here, Bob?
I mean, width range, we have a few little outliers. You know, there's a Ripstick 108
I think
here.
We're 104 to 108.
104 to 108.
Sorry, 103 to 108 because we've got a Koala.
And generally the reason that we'll do this is because Elan also makes a Playmaker 111, which will fall into the 110 category.
Yeah, so kind of trying to get at least one ski from as many brands as we can.
Right. And you were looking at a Fischer Ranger 108 over there that did not make the cut in favor of a Nightstick 104, which fits great in this category. That 108 will appear in the 110s. Yep. So it's not like we're breaking on every millimeter. There is some thought taken into which skis go where.
Some strategery.
Yep.
Now you want to get started?
All right, fine.
We flipped a coin and Bob wanted to go first. So Bob's going to get us started here. with what we have deemed as the carviest ski in the mid-100 freeride category.
Yeah, it's a Nordica Enforcer 104. The ski returns structurally unchanged from last year, where it saw some new updates over, I'm sorry to say, one of Jeff's favorite skis, the 104 Free, moving this into more of a directional realm.
Sad.
I know.
It's fine.
I think it's all right, and I think that Unleashed picks up a lot of the slack for where that that 104 Free left off. But
we don't need to get too
we can
hung
talk
up
about
on
this
it.
ski. It's fine. Yeah, super solid, incredibly stable. You know, wood core made of poplar and beech. We get 2 full sheets of metal in this ski. The thickness of the core is one of the things that we noted was a big difference from the Free to this. And anytime we're talking about a thicker wood core, we're generally talking about more weight, more mass, more heft, more stability, more stiffness. So all of those things go in with every little bit that core gets thicker throughout the ski. And this 104 is no different. You got it on the scale there, Jeff, 2,208 grams in the 185. So yeah, it's got some heft to it as well. And you know, for me, this is one of those skis that I love to ski, but I am kind of unsure that I would want to ski it on a daily basis. Regrettably, you know, I think when you get older and you just kind of lose that day-long kind of, you know, gusto of being an aggressive skier. So
it always feels, I mean, not always, but these days when we're out there skiing with Nordica, it certainly feels like our younger colleague, Matt Stromecki, is a better fit for this ski than you and I. Because I feel the same way. Like, I really enjoy skiing it, but I wouldn't want to ski it every day because it's a lot.
I think my feelings would change if we were in a more open area because it does like to run in more crud and choppy snow.
I agree with that.
But the fact is that this is just one of the best carving 104s that I've ever been on. Like there's no, like,
it's fantastic.
That's a fact. You know, it's got a relatively short radius at 18 meters here in the 185, and it gets all of it. It's incredibly rewarding when you tip it up on edge, and that metal and that wood really do a good job of connecting you into the turn, and it just rips out of the turns. Like, I am always amazed at how well this ski completes a turn and how eager it is to really just start the next one. So minimal transitions here. There's so much energy built into the ski, so much power, that as long as you're able to get the proper input, it's going to reward you. Now, we did get it on some soft snow days this past year, and I was actually really impressed with that too. You know, even in some tighter trees that we have here in Vermont, it's not so bad. You know, a lot of that has to do with this rocker profile and taper shape. So pretty ample rocker in the tip. You know, it's definitely a floaty looking shovel, and then some nice round taper here as well. This is where Jeff gets a little bit sad, is when we see this flatter, straighter tail shape here. It is tapered enough that it does allow for easy release. Anytime we're seeing more of a sharp, kind of more angular aspect to the tail, it just makes the ski easier to steer in deeper snow. So they're definitely taking that into account, even though that effective edge really only goes until about here. So you're dealing with, you know, that much rocker to help you be a little bit more floaty. But overall, you know, lots of camber, lots of power, and just an extremely rewarding ski experience. Stiff.
It's just stiff.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. And like, I'm glad you brought up off-piste performance, because it's like, it's perfectly capable when you go off trail. It's just a lot different than the old Enforcer 104 Free. That ski was a lot more forgiving when you took it off trail. But, you know, if anything, like the Enforcer 104 Free kind of didn't feel like an Enforcer. You know what I mean? Like, sure, it had the name Enforcer, and like it had some other skis around it that made it fit, like the 110 or the Pro or 115 or whatever that ski was called. But this is more Enforcer DNA. You know, directional, fast, down the fall line skiing. So Yeah, it's a good ski.
It's more like just a wider and stronger kind of original 100.
Enforcer 100, yeah, exactly. So, which is not a bad place to be because that ski's awesome.
Yeah.
This, you just get a little bit more width.
Yep.
I told you that I had a question.
Okay.
And I asked you if you wanted to know the question before we filmed, and you said no, you wanted to be surprised.
I've forgotten about this already, but go ahead, yeah.
So this is a 104 underfoot ski. So this is on the narrower side of this spectrum. We are putting it as the carviest.
Yep.
But I'm going to give you another 2 millimeters of range. So you can go down to 102.
Yep.
Are there carvier skis?
Mantra 102.
Yep, I agree.
I don't think Anomaly fits into that category.
Yep, I agree. I think this is carvier. But I wanted to at least bring up the Mantra 102 because that ski doesn't quite make the cut into this width range for this comparison. But it's not to say that there isn't a ski very close to this that is a little bit more on the carvy side.
Yeah.
So, because somebody could very easily ask, like, what about Mantra 102? So that was like, I'm glad that that's where your mind went, because that's where my mind went, and yeah, it's worth like kind of bringing it up.
Yeah, but within this construction zone, that's about it.
I agree.
It's rare.
Yeah, I agree, but there is at least one.
Yep.
And then next ski we're going to talk about is like a pretty similar progression, or a pretty similar ski overall. This is the Faction Dancer 3. Poplar wood core, 2 sheets of metal. On paper, it's built pretty similarly to that Enforcer, and in a lot of ways, it's pretty similar to that Enforcer. 2100 and what, we'll call it 30 grams on the scale here, 183 centimeter length. So a little bit lighter, but still like, you know, on the heavy side. We're gonna see some lighter weight skis up here for sure. And this one's still pretty darn stiff. The reason, or at least for me, one of the big reasons why this is a little looser, a little bit less carving oriented than the Enforcer, is it's got a very straight like cut to it.
Yeah.
Like the whole ski, it actually kind of looks straighter than it actually is. This one has a 21 meter turn radius, but I think we had, what, 18.5 on that Enforcer.
Yep.
So that is like a considerable difference there. And then the other reason that I feel like this becomes a little bit looser, a little bit more agile, is they kind of taper this construction to cap. So it's vertical sidewalls underfoot, and then it becomes cap construction essentially right where the rocker starts. So the rocker starts right there. That's where your vertical sidewall ends and your cap construction starts. So it basically just means that this portion of the ski is a little bit less torsionally stiff, and it's going to feel a little bit less precise when comparing it to an Enforcer.
Yeah.
Like, that's important. This is still the second ski on this wall. It still absolutely rips carving turns. It's got a ton of camber underfoot, but they nicely kind of counter that with, you know, I'd say similar amounts of tail rocker to the Enforcer. And then once again, we see that cap construction in the tail as well. So they're really building a ski that, you know, it's not two-dimensional, or it's not completely different in different portions of it, but it does, they're focusing the grip underfoot, and they're allowing the tips and tails to be a little bit looser. You can see a tiny, tiny bit of early taper here, but it's more just kind of straight through this section of the ski. And yeah, I always really enjoy it. It's far from my favorite Faction ski, because I like all their twin tips.
Right.
But again, to bring up Matt Stromecki, I think we've got some footage. We at least have some excellent photos of him on this ski. If you're young and strong and you like to ski really fast, a ski like the Dancer is awesome. And then you can still go and play around on it. You just have to be pretty strong and pretty willing to work a little bit harder. So
yeah. I had to talk him into it.
Skiing this ski?
Yeah, because I think that we got on these, and
I mean, it's like a great ski for him.
Right, and I was on a Prodigy 3, so similar width,
Yeah.
you know, 106 underfoot.
Yeah.
And he was trying to ski this like it was a Prodigy.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, let it rip.
Right, let it
Like,
run.
This is a wide carving ski. Like,
Yeah.
treat it like you're on a race ski.
Yeah.
And that clicked for him.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I think this is one of those skis that's really aptly named for the right skier. That
Yeah.
it does have good energy. They do double down on it with that full sidewall and the amount of camber.
Yeah.
So a lot of our testers and a lot of the feedback we get is like, wow, this is
People
a
are surprised
really,
by it.
really energetic ski.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think Faction made anything remotely close to this.
Yeah.
So it's a good example of a more freeride, freestyle oriented company coming out with something that's a little bit more all mountain, dare I say, super wide front side.
Well, and not to speak for, I might sneeze, just a heads up.
Okay.
Could happen anytime. Not to speak for Matt, but I'm gonna make some guesses here, and I feel like this is probably true for a lot of people around his age, like in their mid-20s. Like, you know, Matt's got a pretty diverse background of skiing, but a lot of it came from being in college and like being in a group of park skiers.
Yeah.
So I think it's like pretty easy for somebody like Matt to look at a selection of skis and just kind of assume that he should be buying something with a twin tip.
Right.
But I've skied with Matt a lot, and like he does ski backwards sometimes, but not a lot. And like if anything, like this is a better tool for somebody like him. Like he just skis fast.
Right.
And like this, you can still do like fun freeride-y things on it. You know, its only limitation is that it's not going to like land switch very well.
Yeah.
But you can still be like creative and dynamic and playful on it, especially if you're the type of skier that skis really fast.
Yeah.
So kind of a fun one to have second.
Yeah. And the third one's fun too. This is one that I love and I would ski. You know, it just takes a little bit off of that Enforcer, especially from a flex and I guess we'll see from a weight perspective. This is a Kastle Paragon 107.
Feels lighter, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a little shorter. This is the 178 versus the 185.
Well, we basically dropped another 100 grams off of the Dancer there.
Yep, just over 2,000 grams here in that 178 length. Really fun. One of the more directional skis you'll see. This is kind of what we're talking about with the tail shape, where it's relatively flat and squared off, and Kastle wouldn't have it any other way. Certainly as a company, their focus is more on precise, more front side and all mountain oriented skis. When they get into Paragon here, they are moving wider, but they don't really lose a lot of that all mountain and directional capacity. They do use a Infini core, wood core construction here. I love how they say it, impossibly thin stringers.
Yeah.
Of poplar, beech, and paulownia in this to go along with 2 sheets of metal. So we do get that dual metal laminate. As opposed to that Enforcer though, we're looking at a thinner core profile here.
Yeah,
so it does end up being more flexible. Especially in the shovel where they use their Holotech technology. Just takes a little bit of that mass out, works well as lightening swing weight and absorbing vibrations. But overall, really rugged construction. They just kind of mill it down a little bit thinner, and that makes the ski a little bit more flexible, but it doesn't reduce any of the damping or stability properties because this ski is very happy at higher speeds and being pretty aggressive and assertive out there, and certainly one of my favorite skis of this width. It's just extremely rewarding and confidence inspiring. When we got on them last year for the first time, I noted that I don't think I had skied faster over the whole year. This is the fastest ski I've ever been on. And then earlier this winter, Matt and I got out and did a Paragon 107 and 101 on snow comparison video. And we had a really nice snowy day, and it was extremely fun to get this thing going pretty fast down hayride and some crud and chop and see what it can do. And it absolutely motors.
Yeah, you guys had a great 101, 107 day.
Yeah, it was nice.
I wasn't here.
No. But yeah, we do get, some low rocker and then a little bit more splay at the end and some early taper, but pretty floaty shovel. I think our widest part's right about here. So they do emphasize floating. But then for the rest of the ski, you know, pretty low camber and low tail rocker at the end. Very much a directional look here towards the bottom. They do have a 17.9 meter turn radius here in the 178. This is one of those skis that can go longer than that for sure, mostly because it's somewhat easily manipulated in terms of that turn shape and style. It's one of those skis that just kind of is capable of doing like a lot of variable turn shapes and styles.
Yeah, it really
Everything
is
from
for how
like,
strong it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can throw it sideways and get some slashiness out of it,
Yeah.
or you can just let it roll up on an edge angle and kind of build and build and build until you feel it start to come across the fall line. But it is as happy going straight as it is going sideways, which is pretty impressive for something with this construction.
Yeah, they did a really good job with these skis. Like, they should be strong and they should be capable, and like they feel comfortable at high speeds in freeride terrain. But yeah, they made them like quite dynamic in all the different things that you can do on them. And it's just like kind of like everything about it just looks good. Like there's something about this shape that every time I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's good. They did,
it works.
That's perfect. Good job. And I don't know exactly what that is because it's not like dissimilar to Dancer. If anything, it's quite similar in shape. But there's just something visually about it that is very pleasing.
Really what you're missing out on is creativity. You know, like freeride creativity.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping it over there and just isn't as easy to be playful in multiple dimensions.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is somewhat limited in that regard, but it excels in that directional freeride performance.
Yeah. If you're curious, my wife just got the Wordle.
Good for her.
I always forget to take my watch off for these videos. And that's a good reminder to do so right now, so I'm not distracted by more Wordle messages. So next one's pretty exciting. This is the Headcore 106 Ti. We've talked about these, I don't know, at least a few times now, not specifically the 106, although, no, you guys did you do a 106 day? I guess you more just like filmed on it a bunch.
Yeah, it was filming. It wasn't
talking.
Wasn't talking.
So anyways, all new head cores for 2026. It's quite a departure from what they were doing in the past. I really like to think of it as it's accomplishing very similar things in terms of their overall versatility. And like realistically, if the previous Core 105 was on this wall, it would sit pretty darn close to this ski. They just feel completely different. So this is now a beech and Karuba wood core, and now we have 2 sheets of metal. We also have graphene and we also have flax, so there's a lot of different stuff in here, but really just the addition of those 2 sheets of metal, that's the big story here.
I mean, it's anti-core.
It's completely the opposite of everything that we talked about before. That said, I think they did like a commendable job not making them super heavy. This is a 177. We've already looked at several skis with metal in them. And this one's, you know, it's just around 2,000 grams. So it's not concerningly heavy. It's certainly heavier than the previous cores, but it's not like, you know, when you have it in your hand, it doesn't feel like an Enforcer in terms of how heavy it is. And then I think they kind of nailed the flex of these skis. It's certainly quite a bit softer than it used to be, but it's not soft. So it's a nice mix. You know, these, I feel like any previous core skier or any existing core skier, if you made the new skis really soft, it would just feel weird. So it's like, I'm glad it's not too soft, but you know, you combine kind of those 2 characteristics or those 2 elements, 2 sheets of metal and a slightly softer flex pattern, and this ski feels like infinitely smoother than the previous skis. they may have the best overall vibration damping of anything on this whole wall.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, that and the Enforcer are extremely quiet.
Yeah, and like
skis.
the QST is really good. Like
Yeah.
I would put the QST in that conversation alongside the core, but that that has less metal in it. So if anything, like they're just very, very smooth skis. I think they feel, at least for me, they feel easier in a carve. The old skis felt a little bit twitchy, and just like if you were weighting them, like the different amounts that you would weight them, you would get like really exact reactions from the ski, which almost was to a fault. At least like for me, I would get in trouble sometimes. This one just like encourages you to keep pushing into the ski, and you get kind of a deeper, more traditional feel at the apex of your carve, where the previous skis were just so snappy, and it, like, I don't know, it got me in trouble several times. But shape-wise, they've still retained like a nice, playful, versatile shape. Good amount of tip rocker up here. There's quite a bit of camber underfoot, but it's not like hard to decamber it. It's not fighting you.
But that's the compromise, I think, to keep the core energy.
Is giving it that.
Is giving it the camber, which the 105 was a lot flatter.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you can do that pretty easily, because it's not, it's 106 underfoot. I don't really want to feel a ton of camber fighting me if I take it off trail. And then a decent amount of tail rocker back here too. Nothing like crazy. We're gonna get into skis with a lot more tail rocker when we get over to Bob's side of the wall. And yeah, I think it's just a really, really nice, well-rounded freeride ski now. I think it carves phenomenally. I do think it belongs over on this side of the wall, but I think the shape works really, really well off trail too. It's not quite as easy as, say, a Ripstick 108 when you take it off trail, but it's not gonna beat you up either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm quite pleased with these new cores. It does feel like these first 4 skis have a very kind of simple progression.
Yeah.
It's a really simple story from Enforcer to Dancer to Paragon to Core. They all feel kind of similar overall, but as you go down through those 4 skis, they feel a little bit more maneuverable, a little bit less fatiguing, et cetera, et cetera. And then I feel like with the next ski, we get into like a lot more variables.
Yeah, some weirdness.
Yeah, so.
I'll miss the twitch from the
I know.
carbon core, but I did find that this is a better floater. Again, we had it out on some pretty snowy days.
Yeah, the nice spoony shovel.
Yep, it floats extremely. I think it floats better than the carbon core. I don't find that it carves better.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know that, did I say that it carves better or just
No, you just said you didn't like it as much as this one.
the old one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's not like a better or worse thing when it comes to like carving performance of these skis. It's, for me, being a lighter weight skier, it's a confidence thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing surprising about these.
No, it's way more predictable.
Yeah,
for sure.
Where the old cores, I think the lighter that you were as a skier, the more surprising they could be.
Yep, especially when you
the higher
start
the
to get into the edge angles.
The higher the edge angle, the lighter the skier, and then they started to feel a little bit nerve-wracking, so to speak, where this is just like, it's promoting you, it's encouraging you to just ski faster and faster and faster. So it'll be interesting to see the adoption of new cores. I don't really know.
It's a pretty solid first effort for like a whole new ski.
Totally.
Like I'm really impressed with, just like a clean break on carbon core and then boom to core TI.
It's a big step to make.
And like a company like Head, totally capable of it.
Yeah.
Because their research and development is so good.
Yeah, and it's not like Head has no experience making skis with 2 sheets of metal.
Right. Yeah.
They have like,
they're very robust in their
60
race
years of
department.
experience making skis with 2 sheets of metal.
Yeah.
So exciting new skis, exciting new line. It'll be exciting to talk about the 112 too when we get up into the Here, you want a short Kaizen 105?
Yeah, sorry for the shortness. And I guess if you missed the Twitch and want a ski similar to a Carbon Core 105, you could get a DPS
right
Kaizen
there.
105. This
Yeah.
is one of those skis that we would always match up right with that green Core 105. And this ski continues forward into 2026. Very interesting construction here. They do use horizontal sheets of poplar on top and ash on the bottom, and then 2 full sheets of carbon. So this is like the full carbon construction in this Kaizen 105. It allows them to create a very smooth, precise, and strong ski with a very thin profile. This thing is just extremely precise and very flat overall. When we put them together, it's really interesting to see just how low that overall profile is. And what that's going to do is it allows for easier engagement into the snow. And then just like we talked about with that core, there's a twitch factor here. When that carbon starts to light up and eat into the snow, it really starts to bring you around. So you're getting an extraordinary amount of precision with this Kaizen 105. It's very eager to turn and make a carved turn. That's kind of why it's over on that side. But it is lighter and more mobile. It's pretty shifty from side to side as well, just allowing you to be a little bit more progressive with the ski. Kind of tough to get an equalitative measurement here for weight, 1,645 grams. What is this here? The 163. You know, I don't think they get over 2,000 grams until you hit the super long length, so they're on the lighter side, but that ash wood does deliver a little bit of stability and power to the ski for sure. Yeah, it's really, I mean, I like low skis. You know, not a whole lot of splay here, very smooth. Anytime that you're looking at something that has minimal splay, it basically means that the ski is going to want to spend more time on the snow as opposed to being more bouncy. So that kind of fits my style a little bit, and I've had really good success on this Kaizen 105. Not a ton of dramatic taper, but it's there, not like what we'll see, it's over on your side there, with that Wailer 107, which is far more dramatic because that one has to adhere to the shorter radius. This one uses the 18-meter arc, so a longer turn radius and straighter side cut overall. But really kind of I would say more drama in the taper here, very narrow, going to wide, and that's going to help with steering in softer snow. So I do think that this has a lot of on-trail and carving capabilities to it. I think that the lack of mass is kind of keeping it from being a powerful crud buster, anything in variable snow conditions. You will get the deflection, but it does a pretty good job, especially given the weight and how precise it is.
Yeah, I think it's like an extremely well-rounded freeride ski. It's just like probably not the best for somebody who just skis really fast.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't ski concerningly fast.
Right.
Like ever.
My wife thinks I do, but...
Well, you don't. Like, you know, there's plenty of people at Stowe that ski like concerningly fast. Yeah. And like, it's not to say that this can't handle some reasonable speed. Like, it's not like you ski slow, but I think that's kind of the break point of like, if you specifically, like, that's what you like to do is just ski fast, like Luke.
Yeah.
Like, people don't know Luke as well as they know you, but Luke skis really fast.
Right.
He skis lift line like every day, basically every run, kind of as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary to do. Like that's sort of the limit that I feel on this ski.
Yeah, at the end of the day, carbon does not replicate metal in terms of damping, and
Right.
that's what you're getting. You're getting, you know, they try to use the ash to do that because that's normally found in more race-oriented skis. So that's where the compromise is that you're giving up that damp power of metal with the precise and crispness of carbon.
Yeah. Yeah. But they're really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy skiing them too. And like on paper, this isn't really my thing, but I've always enjoyed it. I've had some great soft snow days on this ski.
Yeah.
And like it feels so technical. You know, like if you if you approach the mountain with a technical mindset, then you're going to love this ski.
It's interesting too that within the Kaizen lineup that's the one with the longer turn radius. The 100 and the 112 both get the 15-meter treatment. So that's really kind of an outlier these days in Wailer and Kaizen world, where it's a little bit longer and more directional.
Yeah, which I've always liked.
Yeah,
I like that longer. And like, it's funny that these two skis are next to each other, because this feels like the opposite of a Kaizen 105.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'd agree with that.
So I'm excited about this ski. This is the new Armada ARV 106 Ti. It's pretty interesting. It's basically like they took declivity construction and put it in an ARV 106 shape. So we've got a poplar wood core in here. Then we've got 2 sheets of metal, but they use that articulated titanal banding, so they're allowing for a little bit less torsional stiffness up in the shovel of the ski. And, you know, like I said, it's kind of the opposite of a Kaizen. It's big, it's got a ton of rocker, and it's got 2 sheets of metal, and it's pretty heavy, and it is not precise.
Right.
At all, you know? So it's like, the reason why it's over towards this side of the wall is its strength, but its precision in carves is like it's not like these kind of first few skis that we talked about. It's more kind of mid-footed, like you're skiing it more centered. You're not relying on the shovel of the ski to start your turn. So yeah, pretty cool ski. These are really, really long. What length do I have here? Thank you, 188. And we're up, you know, we're almost to 2,300 grams on the scale here, which is not surprising because it's a big ski and it's got 2 sheets of metal in it. But it's not like stiff. You know, it still kind of has those Armada roots to it. It's not going to break your leg stiff, which I kind of think is important. And then this is going to be by far the most twin tippy shape we've seen so far. And we get a lot of tip rocker too. It's basically, do you want to put that ARV 106 together? Because it should be the same.
Yeah, different lengths, but...
Yeah. So it's essentially just that shape, but we get 2 sheets of metal. So a good amount of camber underfoot. And then this is really where we differ from all the skis that we've started with. A lot of tail rocker back here, and it does rise and have enough splay that, that's a 106 underfoot twin tip. So it kind of like, it puts it in an interesting spot, in my opinion. If anything, if you're like me and you miss the old Enforcer 104 free, this could be a really good one to consider. And then if you listen to us talk about the Kaizen 105 and you feel like you're the opposite of that skier, this is great. So if you ski really, really fast, but with more of kind of a looser, modern freeride slashy style, you're going to really like this ski. So it's interesting, and it's sort of like, if anything, it's sort of tough to place on this wall, because to me, its carving capabilities aren't its intention or highlight, but you also can't ignore that it can do those things really well. To me, its intention and its highlight is skiing really fast and having that kind of slashy, straight sideways style of skiing. Maybe you ski really fast and you also like doing tricks while going really, really fast. Like, this is awesome. If you're gonna mob down some pitch at Snowbird and hit a wind lip or a cat track and do like 120-foot cork 7, like, you need a ski like this.
Yeah, I think the support is a big part of it, especially for more aggressive freestyle-oriented skiers.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, it's part of their Zero collection, which it's limited production. You're not going to see that many. You're not going to see that many from us, but it's a pretty interesting ski to talk about. So I thought we'd bring it up here. You know, I'd say that like most people shopping in the twin tip world are going to want to stay over there with the non-TI ARV 106, but for that top tier of kind of freestyle inspired freeride skiers, it's nice to have skis like this. And with the Enforcer 104 free gone, this kind of it picks up some of that slack.
Yeah, it's got to make you happy, right?
Yeah, I've always been an advocate of twin tips with metal.
Yeah.
Like for a long time, the industry basically didn't do that.
Right.
It was like, those park kids don't need real construction. Let's just give them like some synthetic core and call it good. And like in the last 10 years, you've seen a lot more, nope, let's take this fun shape and give it real construction.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, I don't think we'll see a lot of these in kind of freestyle competitions.
No,
but
you won't see a single
I
one.
think they're,
unless you're
they're
talking
athlete
like
inspired, though.
natural selection or
Yeah,
something like that.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is
Then you could see it.
or like you'll see those in a lot of edits. I feel like
I
a
certainly
lot of
hope
high-end
so.
skiers will be on something like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, you're not going to see them in slopestyle competitions. You're not going to see them on a day-to-day basis at your local resort.
Yeah.
But chances are you'll see like your favorite Armada pro skier do something really cool on them.
Right.
So, kind of a fun one.
What do we got now? A new Liberty here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a good bob ski, right?
I had a great time on this. This is a new Radian 106. So now the widest of the Radian line. They had 92 and 100 last year and then added 106 to the collection this year. Certainly fits in that directional freeride category quite well. It does use poplar wood core. We get carbon and metal in here. I think it's quite easy to start or stop talking about Liberty using vertical metal. Now they're variable, so it is about this long, that metal laminate.
You can just see it, right?
You can just see the tip, and it extends in thin to full width and then back to thin. So we do get the carbon giving it a little bit of energy and pep, and then that metal bringing it back to earth with damping and vibration absorption. I think kind of one of the big things here is that it's pretty mobile. What are you at? 1,818 grams here in the 179.
It's aside from the really short Kaizen, it's the lightest ski so far.
Yeah, a little bit thinner core profile overall, and that makes it really fun and engaging in a carve turn. And then it also makes it really easy to maneuver if you're in softer snow and trees and stuff like that. It actually makes it for a great stow ski here because it does have those mixing capabilities.
Yeah.
Not too stiff, nice kind of flexible shovel, kind of stiffer in the tail though. So I noticed a lot of good energy coming out of this ski and really had a nice time completing, medium radius carved turns on packed powder that we had here. One day, we probably had, 6 or 7 inches of snow. I grabbed this was in my truck, took a run, said, I think I want something wider. Grabbed a Revolt 114 and then went back to this.
Yeah.
So,
Doesn't surprise me.
especially like in tighter trees and where you need a little bit more mobility, it's not like this is going to be able to float in super deep snow, but for 6-8 inches, it does quite well. Certainly with that more spoony tip shape.
Yeah, very spoony.
Yeah, like very dramatically tapered and rockered as well. Pretty long rocker and a good amount of splay in the tip. And this is kind of contrasting more of a direct tail. So it's long-ish tail rocker profile, but pretty flat overall and kind of rounded, a little bit of a bulbous end here, and that helps give you the kick out of the turn. But yeah, I think this also works, I think, well as kind of a good entry point ski for skiers who are looking for a first wider option and want something that's pretty easy to turn, but they won't outgrow.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Yeah.
Even though it's wider, it's like the way that it skis is familiar if you've spent most of your life on all mountain skis.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that this is a really good addition to the Radian line. This construction works quite well in this width, and I'll kind of say the same thing when we get to Pandora here, is that sometimes, like the Radian 92 is really crisp, but it also has this kind of more freeride oriented tail that doesn't work great in that width. But once you get to 106, it starts to make more sense.
The tip.
The tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this new ski, and I had some good days on this thing.
Yeah, the 100's really good too.
Yeah.
I think like the Radian 100 and the Radian 106, they're like arguably the best skis for the biggest audience that Liberty has ever made.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know, like previously, before they switched their production to Europe, and when their skis were still made in China, all of those designs, they had some really good skis. Like the Origins, I thought were great skis, but they always felt like a little bit more specific in their goal or their application.
Yeah.
And this just like, they just feel like really well-made, really well-rounded skis that a lot of people could ski.
Yep.
It's pretty hard to tap into that market. You know, I think that's the challenge for a company like Liberty.
I mean, even just look at this wall. I mean,
there's so many choices, and like, you know, to pick a Radian 106 over a Maverick 105 CTI and over a QST 106, like,
it's a big ask.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is it a good ski? Of course, but to convince skiers to consider a Liberty when it is more of more of a all-encompassing ski, I think that's challenging. I think before it was easier to choose a Liberty because you were looking at really specific things. Now, I also think it's the right thing for Liberty to do. Like, if they want to sell a lot of skis and grow as a company, having things like this are great. It just might take a couple of years for people to catch on.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many of them in the wild, but nor did I see many Evolve 100s
that
or
didn't
110s.
exist last year either.
Right, but even the 92
and 100, you don't see a ton, but they're both really good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
But yeah, we didn't see a lot of Evolve 100s or 110s either.
Pretty much none.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you'd see Origins a decent amount, you'd see Helix, but yeah, you never saw a lot of Evolve or V.
Yeah.
V series. V92, and those skis were sweet.
I love
they were
those things.
They were also like pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really cool like new chapter for Liberty as a brand, and it'll be interesting to see kind of the progression. Next ski, one of these ones that you'd have to overlook and get a Radian 106 instead. This is the Atomic Maverick 105 CTI. This is one of my favorite directional freeride skis ever.
Bold statement.
Yeah, I really like twin tips.
Yep.
I think everyone knows that. But this ski somehow captures the fun factor that I look for in twin tips, but does it in a directional shape. And I just really, really like that about it. And I think it's a very well-designed ski. It's really cool to see this construction and this shape kind of trickle down into the 96 and the 88 now.
Yep.
Because now I think those skis are really, really good too. So pretty interesting build in here. It's poplar and ash wood core. And then we get kind of a little bit of Titanal and a little bit of carbon. You know, there's not a lot of either of those things in this ski. It's a mixture, a combination of both. Hence the CTI title in the name. And on the scale, we're only 1,740 grams here, and this is the 178. So a pretty lightweight ski, which I think is pretty cool. And it's not stiff, but, you know, now it doesn't really make sense. Considering how light it is and how soft it is, you can ski it really hard.
And it goes fast really well.
It goes fast really, really well. So don't be fooled if you pick it up off the wall at your local ski shop and you do this and then you do this and then you look at the shape and you're like, meh. Trust me, it'll rip a carving turn. It's not like, you know, I think it can hang with, at least starting with core, it can hang carving with anything in here. If anything, it could be a little better than Kaizen. It's just not as precise. And that's because you get this big spoony rocker tip with their Horizon tech. So it's like, it's hard to put it further on that wall when like the tip of the ski doesn't even have edges.
Right, the ability to wiggle, not just, it's not like it prefers, but it has the ability.
Totally.
And that's what's kind of skewing it
Pulling it that way. Yeah, it's also like an interesting conversation having it next to the QST 106, because you could flip-flop these two skis in the way that we have these skis organized, and like, I mean, you could just keep flipping them back and forth, and I would be like, yep, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep, that one's right. Yep, that one's right. They're just like, they feel different.
Yep.
You know, this one's lighter and a little softer, and that ski is a little bit kind of beefier, but with longer tail rocker. We'll look at it. So anyways, big long tail rocker, that Horizon Tech, camber underfoot, but it's pretty flat. And again, it's not stiff, so it's easy to push right through that. And then low splay, but long rocker in the tail back here. And we've skied these things all over the place now.
Yeah, this is
Like,
year 2 on that current build, so we've had a bunch of cracks at it.
Yeah, like they work great here in Stowe. I think like this could be a really, really good Stowe or just East Coast powder ski for a lot of people, especially if you prefer a little bit more precision and a little bit more feedback from the tail of the ski rather than having a full twin tip. And then like I've skied them in Utah, skied them all over the place, and they're really, really fun. They work exceptionally well in soft snow.
Yeah.
Like just so good. They're so intuitive and so easy to ski. Even when things get really, really deep, the way that the tip just keeps kind of coming back up to the surface with this like pretty long kind of progressive rocker shape, it just wants to float, and it does it really, really well. And then yeah, pretty darn strong throughout the rest of the ski, and it's very, very well designed.
I find that they make better shorter turns in powder and better longer turns on groomers.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
A lot of what you were just talking about with that tip shape and the ability of it to bounce up, and with
they're
that
pretty
taper.
they're pretty bouncy in soft snow.
Yeah.
You know, not quite like porpoisey, but bouncy.
Yeah, I found it hard to let them run
In softer
snow. I found them easier and more compliant to do that on ice, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they're very happy to make long GS style turns on really firm snow.
I find that you can ski the 115 a lot faster in deep snow.
Yeah.
Just having that extra 10 millimeters of width, the whole ski planes out more, where this ski, like, the tip wants to keep floating, but this part of the ski sinks a little bit, and that's where you get the bounce.
Right.
The Maverick 115, like that ski, you can just charge on, and it just planes
Stays
like
up on
constantly.
plane.
Yeah. So, yeah, really good ski. It's also like, you know, if you're looking for a hybrid touring setup, like I think a lot of people in this category of skis, the Mid-100 Freeride category, you're considering putting something like an atomic shift would be a great binding to pair with this. You could even go full tech binding, and I don't think anybody would give you a side-eye glance.
I wouldn't tell you you're wrong.
I wouldn't either. And then, you know, the alternative is you go full strive and make it just a dedicated resort ski.
Yep.
So really well-rounded ski, a lot of different things you can do to it to kind of make it your own.
Yeah, I like your flip-flop talk, and I think that
right?
I also think this 106 is flippable with a ton of skis. I mean, really, the 106 could just go straight in front of this wall.
I mean,
here.
both of those, like, you could just do that.
Right. These are the personifications of
this category.
Of this category.
100%. You could put Atris in there too, and like I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah. I think it's pretty easy to tell that we've been excited about the new QST series from Salomon. A lot of the 106, I would say the 106 has stayed more the same over
just so good.
over the other QSTs, so a little bit more difference in the blank, the 100, the 94 over their counterparts, while the 106 has stayed more similar in especially in terms of shape and profile. We do get a different construction that does kind of make it feel a little bit different.
I just find it's like more consistent
from tip to tail than the old one, or
yeah. like then I agree with everything that you said, and it's just true objectively on paper. This one's very similar to the old
Yeah.
ski, but taking away that double sidewall and giving it this new construction, I think has improved it.
Yeah. So full poplar wood core, like Jeff said, done with the double sidewall, just full, thick, meaty sidewall throughout. They have changed the corked amplifier. So it used to just kind of be a block in the front. Now it's more of a horseshoe shape in the tips and the tails. And that's leaving wood core going all the way to the very end, as well as their basalt stringers. So those stringers are now pretty much full length tip to tail. So it's basically like cork, wood, basalt in the tips and tails. And like you were saying, just delivers a very consistent feel from end to end. So really interesting what they did with the construction of this ski. This is the 181. We're just hovering above 2,000 grams here on the scale. So there is some heft to it. It is a damper feeling ski. The cork does a lot of that. The thicker sidewall helps as well, just trying to keep you a little bit further off the snow. It is a thicker core profile, and that when it first entered our office, I don't know, a year ago? Almost. That was the first thing I noticed was, oh boy, this is a thicker ski. I bet it's going to carve even better. And I think that does happen, especially we kind of reference matte in a lot of these skis, and I think that this is another one that fits a more dynamic carving style where you can really lay it over on edge and get a lot of that energy back. I don't carve as well on this as some other skis on this wall, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. And I think that the highlight here is in the softer snow and the steering capabilities of the QST line.
Do you think that's a shape thing?
I think it's a shape thing.
Because like I carve better on a QST 106 than most things on this wall.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a shape. For me, I think it's a shape thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the steering capabilities in softer snow and trees is just nuts.
Yeah.
There's in it, a lot of these skis are good turners, and wherever you decide, whatever type of turn shape you want to make, it'll kind of turn that way. These, when you put them on edge and kind of pick a direction, it's not even like you don't even have to do anything. You just look.
Yeah.
And the shape of the ski just steers to where you are looking.
Yeah.
It's an incredible connection between skier and ski. That intuition is robust.
Yeah.
And this is how they do it. Lots of long rocker in the shovel here. A good amount of taper, like way down is the widest part. So they're just so easy to steer and maneuver through. And then quite a bit of rocker in the tail as well. Yeah, just an incredibly well-designed and shaped ski, and just incredibly fun in variable conditions and terrain. And I think an extremely good floater in fresh powder.
It's just so useful.
Yeah.
Like, you could bring up any freeride situation,
Yeah.
and the QST 106 is going to perform really well.
Yeah. One of the things that I kind of alluded to a few times in the article is the use of skis like this, more of a modern freeride ski being used, and you just see more of these skis in the park. Like that seems to be a trendy thing where there's slightly more of a freestyle component here.
Slightly.
I'm not surprised to see people using them, I guess.
Yeah. I wouldn't like recommend it.
Right.
It's like one of those things that like if you have to ask, then don't do it.
Right.
But yeah, sure. Yeah, you get like I think like you know what I think that is, Bob? I think it's just there are more people with park skiing backgrounds now. And like that's why you see more like I'm 40.
Right.
So now like basically like age 45 and down, good chance you have some park skiing history.
Yeah.
So you just like start seeing skis in different places where like 20 years ago it was 25 and down.
Right.
And then it's like, yeah, you just didn't see like, 23-year-olds generally didn't have enough money to buy a ski. It's just like,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I don't think like, yeah, again, I wouldn't like recommend.
No, I
this as
just
a
I
park
just see
ski,
it more. I just feel like I see it more.
Yeah, or you like see people like kind of doing tricks on them.
Yeah,
Yeah, whether it's
Like, I
like
wouldn't do
in
it.
the park or not. Yeah, I agree with that.
but just an incredibly well balanced and predictable ski.
Yeah, they're really good. Do you like this color?
Yep.
I like this color too. I like the, would you call that salmon?
No, I think it's orangier than salmon.
Should we ask Joe?
I think salmon's pinker, but
We'll ask Joe.
I could be wrong.
We'll let Joe settle this one.
My vision hasn't been great lately.
Next up, this is an interesting ski. This is the DPS Carbon Wailer 107. So a little bit different than the Kaizen that we talked about earlier. It is a little bit less expensive. I believe it's, what, $200 less than a Kaizen. This one's a poplar wood core, and then we get kind of 2 carbon stringers above the core and 2 below the core as well. So overall, a little bit less carbon. I don't know what would happen if you took it out and weighed the actual carbon, but it at least feels like it's less carbon.
Yeah.
This one's really long. What do I have here?
I think an 89.
Yeah, I do have a 189. Thank you. It's very small font right underfoot. And it's 2,100 grams. So, you know, that sounds kind of heavy, but really this is the longest ski that we've had so far, or like 1 centimeter longer, I think.
Yep.
So it's actually not like that heavy. It's just we've got a really long one here. And then it's not crazy stiff. Like, you do feel that carbon energy to these skis, but they're not stiff. It's not like old core stiffness. Yeah. And then this is kind of like the classic DPS shape. So you talked about this before, Bob. It's a 15-meter turn radius, so it's a very short radius for a ski this wide, and a ton.
And that long.
Yeah, and this long. And a ton of tip rocker. Like, this distance from tip to tip is
It's massive.
massive.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the biggest difference. That Koala's got to be a lot. Just realizing the existence of 3 DPSs.
I think it's a testament to where their company puts their stock.
No Stokely is 3 DPSs.
Right.
That's a good representation
Right.
of those 2 brands. And then far less tail rocker than the tip, but still quite a bit. And we get that like kind of almost pintail finish and a lot of taper in the shovel too. So I'm pretty quick to say things like this. I have never liked this shape. It just doesn't really work for how I like to ski, but there's a lot of people that really do like this shape. Like, I remember testing the Wailer 100, the yellow ski, like we skied it a lot, and I never felt like it matched how I wanted to ski, but I also remember being in the trees at Stowe and being like, this is the easiest that this has ever felt. You know, it just like, I felt like I had to go a little bit slower and ski with more precision and more purpose. And it's like, I've always found these to be kind of like exploration skis. Like, you're finding stuff rather than you know the line already really well and you're going to ski it really fast. You know, I would do that on a QST 106, where on a Wailer 107, I feel like you're seeking and exploring, and you should ski with that kind of that mindset. And then like they're kind of just over on this side of the wall because of that 15-meter radius. Like, when you get them on trail, it's surprising. Again, it's like kind of speed dependent. If you get going too fast, this tip just kind of starts to bounce around.
But it's not even touching the snow. Like,
no, it's just it's like a visual thing.
Right. The ski is really only engaged from here to here.
Yeah, and
like
it actually
it's
carves.
crazy.
Like, you can make kind of really fun short radius carves on them. So yeah, it's never really been something that I particularly enjoy, but I certainly appreciate its existence. I'm much more of a Koala skier on paper, but you know, I would say like my perception of this ski is that it's built more for somebody like you, Bob. You know,
Yeah.
I could see you taking this thing into bypass woods at Stowe and having a blast, and I think you may have done that.
Sure did. And I'm all about a DPS 15 meter.
Yeah,
Like, I love it.
yeah,
And I'm a little bit more aligned with the 100s, either Carbon Wailer or Kaizen.
just from a
100s.
width side.
Just from a,
Yeah.
from a width side. But when we got on these this year, and it was a pretty nice day, not so bad to have that extra 7 millimeters underfoot. They are incredibly easy floaters.
Yeah, you know, a lot of Utah influence in DPS skis, and I think if you have that mentality and that style, and you ski somewhere like Alta, Snowbird, or anywhere out there,
Yeah.
you're gonna love this ski.
Yeah, dry snow, dry
To-
deep snow
totally.
is like right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, and like go on an adventure.
Yeah.
That's what this ski feels like it's all about to me.
Yeah,
So.
but like you said, you don't want to. They don't want to run.
No, you gotta
They
keep.
want to turn.
That's what I mean. Like you gotta keep like. Speed shouldn't be the thing that satisfies you as a skier if you're buying this ski.
Yeah,
It needs to be like, it needs to be the adventure and the experience and like the exploration and finding things and like standing on top of a line that looks really technical and really challenging and kind of like picking your way down it.
yeah,
Like I think that's the right way to think about this ski.
yeah. I agree. Moving to my side of the wall here.
I know it's always awkward. Like I don't know what you.
Here, I'll
hand
give
me.
you one.
Yeah.
This is a K2 Mindbender 106C. We've talked about this ski for a few years now. Same construction as we've seen in the past. We do get a different graphic for 2026. And the big story with this K2, in addition to the shape, is the use of carbon here as well. Construction-wise, aspen wood core, and then we get their carbon spectral braiding. So in the Mindbender series, it is more of a directional application with tighter cross-hatching of the carbon in the forebody, and then it lengthens to more longitudinal carbon stringers towards the tail. Still cross-hatching, but they're just opening that angle a little bit. So if you think about it that way, they're putting more emphasis on torsional stiffness up front and a little bit more emphasis on longitudinal stiffness and rebound and energy out of the tail. It's pretty interesting because when you get on this ski, again, similar to that Salomon, it's really easy to steer. So when you tip the ski on edge, it's a little bit more precise than you may feel, and then it's really loose and kind of fun and surfy in the tail. What are we at here? Just under 2,000 grams. You know, it's a dense feeling ski, especially underfoot, but it does get a lot thinner in the tips and tails. We do move more towards that cap construction like we saw in Dancer. And as you alluded to before, just makes it a little bit easier to maneuver. Pretty flexible.
Yeah.
You know, this is, which other one did I say it about? A good entry level, the Liberty. You know, it's like a good entry level 106. If you're emerging into the freeride world, if you're a progressing skier and you want a good ski to help you explore like the DPS, but you still want it to have enough kind of oomph to help you out if you're not on fresh snow, that's where this K2 really comes in handy. It's an exceptional tree ski as well. One of the better wood skis we've been on here in Vermont. Super long rocker profile, not as much taper as we see in something like that DPS, the DPS Wailer, more similar to that lower splay we see in the Kaizen. So pretty smooth, easy to turn, lot of tail rocker. I would say this might be some of the longest tail rocker that we've seen. And then a little bit more taper in the tail, like more modern kind of geometry in the tail, a little bit more traditional in the tip. And we found that these tails really do a nice job of helping you kind of steer, boat rudder along, especially through deeper and softer snow in the woods. I don't find these to be, I find them to hold up well on groomers. I don't think that they excel. That's certainly keeping the ski on this side of the wall, but they're not bad. I think that just a little bit of extra weight and mass is really helpful in terms of keeping the ski feeling consistent and predictable on your feet. It's not jittery at all. You know, it's not like the carbon here adds that twitchiness that we see in the Kaizen or in carbon core. It's a lot more supple than that. And so you don't need to have a strong skill set, strong legs. You can get on this thing and have a nice time.
It's like, I always have felt like it's an excellent blend and combination of being supportive but also forgiving.
Yeah.
Like, it's never, it never feels weird. You know, it's like from the first turn, you're like, oh yeah, this is easy.
Yep.
This is pretty, like this is good. And then like you start skiing a little faster and you're like, oh yeah, this can handle this. This is fine.
Yep.
And then you make a mistake and you're like, oh, cool. No, I'll just stop.
Right. I'll just correct and get right back in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it just does, it like makes skiing easier.
Yeah.
Kind of in every sense.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's not as chargy. As, you know, but that's what they have the Mindbender 108 Ti for.
Yeah, which is a completely different story. That ski is incredibly chargy.
Yeah.
And that like, we talked about that ski on this wall because we have a 108 up here, at least one, and basically we'll just put that into the 110 comparison. But yeah, it's a completely different story when you get to 108 Ti.
Yeah.
Do I get to talk about an Atris?
Yeah, huge Atris.
Sweet.
With last year's graphic.
Yep. Good reminder. This is this is a 2025 graphic. You know what's exciting, Bob? You're not going to guess. No, you're just going to wait. I just got confirmation before we came into the studio that our Black Crows 2026 order has shipped.
Excellent.
Yeah. So in all future comparisons, we should have the correct graphic for Black Crows. But yeah, ski doesn't change. It only changes cosmetically for 2026. And I have always really, really liked the Atris. I think I've said several times, I think I actually said it in my like written ski test feedback this year, that it's like the quintessential freeride ski. And we kind of said that when we were right here, and then I mentioned that I would bring Atris into it too. And I'm interested to have this conversation, Bob, because when we were setting up this wall, I kind of wanted to bring it this way more, and you wanted it that way more. So we weren't exactly in agreement on where the Atris lands, and I think that's interesting because we're different.
Yep.
You know, I'm a lot lighter, and I've actually always thought that this ski carves pretty well, but it does all that side of the wall things well too. So I think that's like why it's always just felt like the quintessential freeride ski to me, is because you can ski it pretty fast, or at least as fast as I would ever want to. I've never once reached a speed on the Atris where I'm like, nope, gotta shut it down. The ski doesn't like it anymore. I'm always the one that, you know, like I say, no, this is too fast for me before the ski says it's too fast. But anyways, pretty simple. Simplicity is kind of a theme with Black Crows. A lot of their skis don't have complicated construction. They just do a really good job with shaping and core thickness and just all the little things, and that results in a really fun ski. So it's just a poplar wood core. This is really long. It's a 190.2 and it's 2,100 grams. But again, it's so long that like, don't be thrown off by that weight. A more normal length would be 2,000 or maybe even a little bit lower than that. And then, you know, like, there's no metal in here, there's no carbon, but like that's a pretty supportive flex pattern there.
I mean, in my opinion, in my experience, this is the only length Atris that is acceptable.
For you?
For me.
Oh, that's fine.
And I don't say that 190s are, I don't say that about a lot of 190s.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's why I kept trying to pull it this way.
Because you needed the 190?
I need the 190.
Well, I think that's a weight thing.
Yeah.
Like what's the next length down, 183?
83, I think.
Like that's the one that I ski and I love it. And I've skied the shorter one too, because at the ski test,
you did the birdie,
you skied the 183 and I skied like the 178, 7, I don't know. And I had fun on that one too, and I never really felt that I reached the speed limit there either. So decent amount of tip rocker, kind of middle of the road on this wall for the amount of tip rocker it has. Same is true with camber, kind of same is true with turn radius. It's a 20-meter turn radius. And then, like, it's like almost a twin tip. You know, it's hard to, like, say that it's actually a twin tip, but it's pretty darn close. Like, I would ski this thing switch without feeling too concerned for my safety. And I just, every single time I've skied it, I've had a really, really good time. I definitely like this newest version more than the previous version. That ski was, what, 108 underfoot? And this is
105 now.
This is 105 now. And I just feel like bringing it down a touch, and I'm sure this isn't the first time that I've said this, it just opens it up to more possibilities. It does feel like more of a daily driver ski. If you were out west and you have a reasonably playful skiing style, I think the Atris is an awesome ski to consider. I think it's quick in the trees. I think it's actually a really, really good tree ski. And then, yeah, I've never had issues with it going fast in more open terrain. I think it does it really well. I don't think it's like the carviest ski because of its shape and just its kind of overall characteristic. So it's not, you know, it's not like I would want to put it over here, but I think, like, for me, mentally and emotionally, I like to think of it right here with the QST and the Maverick. So just slightly different experiences between the two of us.
I've found it to be a smooth carving ski, but I've never found it to be an engaging or exciting carving ski.
Yeah, smooth carving is exciting.
I don't mind it, and that's why I like this. And you know, just like I said, some skis come into their own in terms of width, others come into their own in terms of length. So there's just a sweet spot that can be found with different skis and different lengths and widths.
Yeah.
Which makes the length discussion even that much more impossible to drill down on.
I mean, it's like that's it. Yeah, it reminds me of we recently had that chat with Andy Mon.
Yeah.
And we were talking. I mean, very different conversation, but we were talking about like ramp angle and delta. And he was like, he just laughed and was like, yeah, there's like 15 different variables.
Right.
And like there kind of are when you're choosing skis too.
Right.
It's like, you know, that's kind of the theme that we have at SkiEssentials in our content, and why we have these like hours long conversations is it's not black and white. It is impossible to stand up here and say, everyone should buy this one. This one's the best. I'm trying to vaguely point at nothing, so no one can take this clip and put it on social media of me pointing to a ski and saying that one's the best. Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people, I think less now that we've been doing this for a reasonably long time now, like people don't get annoyed by that, but it certainly used to happen more often.
Yeah.
People would be like, no, tell me the one that's bad. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Right.
And like, this is a pretty good example of that. Like, I think it carves just fine.
Yep.
Bob only thinks it carves well in the 190.
And
so
only in long drawn out carves.
Yeah, so it's like, that's why we have all these conversations. Yeah. So, great ski.
I always like talking about ski lengths as non-starters. Like, I just can't do it. And there's ones on the other end, like an Enforcer 104 and a 191. Like, nope.
Yeah, good luck.
That's a no.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah. Is our widest ski here, Jeff? 108?
Yeah, I think so.
Elan Ripstick 108. And I think another one that comes more into its own in wider shapes. You know, Ripstick is quite light and reasonably flexible. So if you're a heavier, more aggressive skier and you need a little bit more mass and volume of ski underneath your feet, you're going to have to get a 108. You know, the 88, 96, 96 black, 102, 102 black. It's a very comprehensive lineup, but they don't really start to feel stable until you get to 108. You just need, for me,
well, for you,
more mass and more ski underfoot.
Put me on a normal Ripstick 96 non-black editions.
You're a happy guy.
Plenty of stability.
Yeah. 1,713 grams here in the 175. So yeah, on the lighter side of the spectrum. And I've just found that these shovels in the 108 are a little bit more amenable to being supportive, especially in more directional and hard charging skiing. So I like the 88 for its quickness, for torsional stiffness, a lot of good energy out of the ski. And then for me, it goes right to here.
That makes sense. I would have guessed that.
Yeah.
Those are your two favorites.
If I'm selecting two Ripsticks,
Yeah.
it's 88 and 108.
Not surprising.
Elan, more than pretty much any other company, has the freedom and capabilities to be very creative in their constructions because they build their skis asymmetrically. So they're able to have a right and left specific ski, and this affords them the ability to put different materials in different places in order to accentuate that right and left specificity. So they are built with a light wood core, poplar and paulownia. We get carbon tubes. We've talked about carbon tubes quite a bit. So 360-degree carbon application that's milled into the ski, so they take out wood and put in the carbon. We also get 2 strips of unidirectional carbon along the bottom of the core, and that helps just give a little bit more energy without that carbon being too close to your feet. So they're damping it by lowering it in the core of the ski. Then we get a flax laminate in the shovel here, no more vapor tips. And that allows them to create a thinner core profile overall. But like on this right ski, they're able to put more of the material over the downhill edge and just create more edge grip in that zone. That also filters into shape, where they use their amphibio rocker profile. So the best way to think about it is a slight twist in the rocker, even though it doesn't really.
It's so slight.
It's so slight. You can really just kind of pinch them together and on one side and the other and look down and be like, okay, this is the right ski. But very much a directional format. Low splay, which I really like, nice and smooth. Positive camber underfoot, and then pretty flat tail. So you get a lot of energy and a lot of direct contact out of the tail. The reason that it's over here more is that weight. You know, just having it feel like there's nothing on your feet makes it feel more wiggly and smeary and slarvy. So it's super easy to throw sideways and just be creative and spontaneous. Bless you.
I warned you like an hour and a half ago.
I know, I'm surprised it took that long. But yeah, I think that combined with the amphibio rocker profile makes this feel like just a really cohesive unit as opposed to 2 independent things on your feet. And I'm all about it. It's very easy to get these skis parallel. That's kind of one of the byproducts of the amphibio rocker technology, is that it just allows you to ski parallel easier. So if you kind of have trouble with, you know, kind of a wedge, you know, if one ski drifts or something like that.
Freeride.
Yeah, these really help just keep you more parallel and more consistent in your turns. So pretty cool how that technology does actually equate to on-snow performance, on-snow feel.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great floater, a great ski, and one of the easier ones on this wall. Again, another good example of a ski that for someone who's buying their first powder or freeride ski, because you're getting a lot of sophistication, technology, a unique build, and ease of use.
It's very floaty.
Yeah.
It's very fun, and it kind of has like this, like, I don't know, it's got like kind of a refreshing, easygoing vibe for a directional ski.
Yep.
Like its shape, its performance on snow does not exactly match its shape, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because its shape is basically like these skis over here, or if anything, like even flatter tail than a lot of the skis over here.
Yeah.
But its performance on snow is very fun and easygoing and loose. And
yeah, very similar to that Paragon now that you're equating for shape.
Yeah, but just like drastically different builds.
Yep.
So gives them very different personalities. And I was also going to say that's the second to last ski that's not a full twin tip. So like we're moving, you point at Pandora. Were you saying that Pandora is not a full twin tip?
We'll take a look when we get there.
Okay, fair. Before that, we're going to talk about this Blaze 104 from Volkl. really like what they've done to these skis, you know, moving from 106 to 104. That wasn't like a big change there. But I think like the biggest thing for me and how this ski has changed is this plate underfoot. So there's a lot going on, but in typical Volkl fashion, the amount of technology and engineering in this ski is noteworthy. So we get a hybrid wood core. That wood core has changed a little bit over the years, but very, very lightweight wood core. We get suspension tips and tails, so the top sheet's kind of translucent in certain sections, so it's basically just like kind of a rubber half circle in the tip and in the tail as well. And then we get this metal plate underfoot, and in the early Blaze skis in the 106, the plate extended to the edges, but then came back in and then extended to the edges again. Now it is all the way to the edge everywhere with just kind of these two slits cut out of it right here. So you just get more metal underfoot. And I just feel like this ski, it's just overall more well-rounded now. It's always been very light. I think these new skis are a little bit heavier. This one's 1,770 grams. This is the 172. So, you know, it's not like the lightest thing that you're ever going to see. And they're not soft. You know, they've kind of like never been super soft.
No, yeah.
Like 104 is probably stiffer than we saw in 106. But these skis have always had a super maneuverable, surfy mentality just from their shape. So super long tip rocker here and super long tail rocker as well. There's like basically no splay, or there's minimal splay. There's also minimal camber underfoot. And then we get 4 different radii in this ski. So the tip is short-ish, the tip is 19, but then the forebody of the ski, so this section is 35.
Long.
So when you get a 35-meter turn radius that's like 100% rocker, the ski is going to feel very, very agile and very drifty. It's easily one of the most maneuverable skis when you're in tight terrain, but I do think they've given it a little bit more oomph underfoot in the latest version of these Blaze skis, which I think is nice to have. I don't think it's like completely changed where it falls in this category, but it's nice. You know, I do think they've made it a little bit more trustworthy if you're skiing a little bit faster. Another one that's like pretty good choice for a hybrid touring ski. They put a little skin attachment point on the tail here. So yeah, it's really good. You know, I think like this is another one where like I've never really felt like much of a Blaze skier. I've always gravitated more towards like Revolt 104 over there, but tons of people absolutely love these things, and there's a really good reason why.
Yeah, this thing checks a lot of boxes for me. I love this.
Yeah.
You know, I was always more of a 94 fan.
Yeah, me too.
And didn't love the 106. I thought it was a fantastic floater, but didn't do much else.
Super loose, yeah.
This 104, though, took most of those good things. It doesn't float quite as well as the 106, but it basically takes the best parts of the 94 and moves them into a wider bodied format.
Yeah, or like I think it retains the best parts of the 106.
Yeah.
But it makes it it's a little bit stronger.
Yep.
Which is just, it's nice. Like that 106 just basically felt like a powder ski. And this feels like a versatile freeride ski.
Yeah, it's really the flatness of it.
It's pretty stark.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone wrote in today and wondered where all the fully rockered skis were these days. And I'm like, well, Volkl's
You get that.
about as close as they get
close.
from a company perspective.
Yeah.
And they've always have been, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
thinking
reverse
about
camber RTMs.
Yeah, and mantras and confessions and bridges. And I mean, they've always been more onto the fully rockered side of the spectrum, which is surprising given that they're really more known for being precise and carvy and edge grippy. But
yeah, and they're still precision to that ski.
Yeah.
It's just precision in like its freeride application. Like it's not loose. You know, it's another ski that's like kind of the opposite of this because it's light and it's precise.
Yeah.
And this is heavy and not precise.
Yeah. And like I could make this switch here pretty easily.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. If anything, I would agree with that. We probably that was a miss. We'll chalk that up to a miss.
It's all right.
How much
Can't
does
get them all.
How much does this plate weigh?
Maybe 200 grams.
You want me to take it off?
No. It's all right.
I don't know that there's a screwdriver in here.
There would be a lot of screws.
It's 8.
Yeah, I bet it's close to 200 grams based on what I've seen in the catalog.
Yeah.
It's a DPS Koala 103. We're moving into twin tip world, which is great news for you, Jeff. This is on the scale 2,265 grams. I do think that the demo plate is about 200 from what we've measured in the past. And there are some new updates to this Koala 103. Basically, we're getting Carbon Wailer construction in Koala 103 shape. So the shape and profile have remained the same over the years, but we do get a more energetic build, and I think that it works extremely well.
Yeah, it's nice boosting that ski's energy a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it always kind of lacked energy.
And I think that, you know, if you kind of think about DPS and they're like, all right, we're going to make a wider twin tip for more aggressive but playful skiers in Utah, right? You're going to jump off cliffs and do tricks off of natural hits. So you don't want something that's going to be too poppy or too energetic. Yeah. But there's a compromise.
Totally.
Yeah. So I think moving to more carbon in the Koala 103 is good, and I think it's going to help more skiers. And we've had a really good time on these this year. Similar day to Carbon Wailer 107 with nice deep snow up top, packed powder at the bottom. You know, felt like we were in Utah. So
I don't think I was here for that either.
Nope, you missed that day too.
Every time I left this year, it snowed nonstop in Stowe.
Yeah. Good for us, I guess. The shape and profile is what sets this ski apart. Pretty pronounced with their rocker profile and with their taper shape. So if we decamber the ski, rockers brought pretty far down. Decent splay. Same thing with the tail. More symmetry in this ski's rocker profile than I believe we've seen. And that's by design. They want to make it balanced and on the symmetrical side of the spectrum for more freestyle-oriented skiers, hence the symmetry in the rocker. And then with the taper, we've always noticed that these have a very DPS-oriented taper for a twin tip, and that is brought well down into the ski. It aligns with that rocker profile. But yeah, a lot of positive camber underfoot, combined with that carbon, and you get a lot of energy out of these skis. And then the tip taper, again, pretty symmetrical. I'd say there's more tip than tail, but it's pretty close. So that kind of shortens the effective edge, but it's still pretty straight. These do use the 18-meter turn radius, so not a lot of drama in the side cut and the underfoot zone. And the one thing that we've really noticed about these skis over the years is that they like to be skied more centrally. And, you know, not a whole lot of skis out there really kind of make that claim that aren't in park world. So they just feel like they're better when you're in the middle. Yeah. If you're pressuring the tip of this ski, it just takes a long time for you to get into the side cut. Yeah. So that's the only kind of weird thing about it, is that they just like to be skied in the middle and skied more symmetrically.
I always really wanted to like the Koala 103, and I never did. Yeah. Because it always felt a little bit kind of dead, a little bit planky, sort of. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's much better. Yeah, the move to more carbon, I think, made a huge difference. Yeah. And really kind of unlocked this ski. And what it should be. Yeah, what it should be, for sure. It's definitely got a lot more life to it now than it used to have. Yeah, 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 I'm glad. Well, we got the demo bindings right over there, Jeff, so. Graphics good, too. I love it. And the 111's great, too. Yeah. Next ski up here, this is the Pandora 106. Bob was trying to tell me that it's not a twin tip, but
You're gonna prove me wrong?
I'm gonna die on that hill. So kind of interesting, the progression of Pandora, the name with line. So for a long time, Pandora was their women's collection. Now Pandora is a unisex collection, and like arguably their most well-rounded skis.
Yeah, I mean they're simple.
Yeah.
They're cohesive. They have
Yeah.
a nice feel to them.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with
And
a
like,
Pandora.
you know, Line has plenty of skis that are very focused on park.
Yeah.
Or like the blend is like specifically designed to be this ultra soft flexing jibby Will Wesson tool.
Yeah.
And then like the optics are like strong Freeride skis, and then Bacon's are like super soft floaty
Yeah.
powder skis. Pandoras are just like, yeah, you want a one ski quiver from Line, Pandora.
is. Yep.
And it's just they're quite good. There are a lot of them, so you know if you want to go narrower, they have narrower options as well. I do like this 106 quite a bit. Another one that I think they did a great job with the graphics. It's just an aspen wood core in here. I think
Yeah.
you said something before we started filming, like, yeah, it's like a Mindbender, but you take out the carbon spectral braid.
Yeah.
And like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, sure, it's taking away a little bit of torsional stiffness in certain portions of the ski, but it still feels good. And it's just over 1,900 grams on the scale here. And it's just another like predictable, you know, kind of middle of the road flex pattern. It's probably leaning a little to the softer side, but it's got, you know, it's got some substance to it. And this ski has some substance to it. It's not like it's just like this super lightweight, soft flexing noodle. It's like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty solid thing. And then the shape is just like,
Oh boy.
yeah, I did that over here.
I got it.
That felt defensive, Bob, because I was about to say this. The shape is just this beautiful twin tip shape. No, it is. It is like it's more directional than like a symmetrical twin tip. So, good amount of tip rocker up here. You know, I think there's less tail rocker by splay, but by length there's still a lot. You know, I understand where you're coming from, but to me it's just enough, and like just enough, and you put the Line brand on there, and it's tough for me to think about it as not a twin tip. And then if you want to play another game, another is this a twin tip game, let's say really rough math, I bet that's what, 5 centimeters back from true center for mount point.
Yeah.
We can measure accurately and double check. So directional twin tippy shape, very simple build, nice shape, nice flex pattern. It's very predictable, it's very easy to ski, and you can just do a lot of different things on it. You know, I know you guys had a great Line day too, and I wasn't here for that either. But I think it's a really good one. I think it's just like, it's kind of one of those things where I don't think we've said that about any other ski up here, but if you're shopping in this category and you don't know what to get, chances are you'd be just fine with a Pandora 106. You know, I think you could say that about a lot of other skis up here too, but it's not going to overpower anybody. You know, you talked about some kind of stepping stone skis of this guy and
K2.
K2. And,
Elan.
yeah, and I would put this in that category as well, especially if you want a little bit more rise in the tail of the ski, a little bit more freestyle influence overall. But yeah, I think Pandoras are great, and I think it's nice. It's nice to see from Line. Things were getting a little weird there for a while.
I mean, they're still weird. They're
Yeah.
Just,
It just felt like it got a little too weird.
yeah.
When like Blade and Optic
Yep.
felt like they were like, no, this is what we're hanging our hat on. Like, I don't like that. Fun skis, but just so unique. Where
Yeah, this is
are
much more mainstream.
Totally. And I think it's important for a brand like Line to have some just simple skis that are really easy to buy. You know, there's nothing to worry about when buying a Pandora 106.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to be able to do a lot of different things. Is it the best carving ski up here? Certainly not. Is it the softest, most playful ski? I'd say it's not that either, but the sum of all parts is quite good.
Yep. And like I said before, in the 106, it really comes into its own. You know, in the 99 and 92, it's a little loose for my size and
I
preference.
understand that. I like the 99 quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, super easy, and you don't have to think too hard about it, but I really liked this construction. Line does a good job of blending thick and thin, so you have a nice solid feel underfoot, and then, you know, it gets a little bit more mobile in tips and tails. But yeah, at 106, I felt totally at home on this ski.
Yeah, it's very, very intuitive, very approachable.
Armada ARV 106 non-TI. This ski does get a new graphic for this year. Same construction as we saw last year. So moved to a poplar wood core and ash underfoot. And this is a really fun and engaging twin tip that has that freestyle component to it. I think that anytime that you're kind of looking at ARV as a series, and it starts with the more park-oriented 88. I mean, they've got the tweener 84s as well, but they really start to come into their own 88, then 94, 100, 106. And they each really have their own individual identities. It's pretty interesting how they can take the ARV line and make them all so different.
I agree 100%.
You know, we go to 112 after this as well.
And it's not like it's a crazy difference between them, but they all have something you can point to that's their own kind of thematic.
Yeah. And they end up feeling really nice and smooth and steady. But then something like this 106 at almost 2,000 grams here, what length? 180, actually has quite a bit of pep to it. So you kind of feel like there's a good amount of energy and responsiveness. A lot of that has to do with the profile and the amount of camber. I mean, it's safe to say that these have more camber, longer camber than a lot of other skis in this width range, and especially more twin tip oriented skis. You know, like you normally think of a surfy twin tip as being flatter and more shifty and drifty, but then something like the Blaze 104, which is way flatter than this, comes along. So it's just, I've always find it interesting how skis go about creating different characteristics through the use of shaping. So a little bit more camber in this ski, and that's delivering kind of a good amount of energy. And they're not, you know, they're softer, but you do get a lot of feedback.
Yeah, they're springy.
Yeah, they're springy skis.
All the ARVs are very springy.
Yeah. But not a ton of splay here, you know, long enough rocker. It's, you know, when we're talking about more, if you look at the 88, it's a far different rocker profile. It's a lot more camber and then abrupt at the ends. And as they get wider, they are just getting smoother and a little bit more consistent with the bend as well as the taper.
Yeah, the 100 and the 106 actually have pretty similar shapes.
Yeah, but then this one just feels a little bit more like the 94 even, with a little bit thicker of a profile and more...
In terms of its maneuverability, its agility.
And edge grip.
I kind of know what you mean.
You know, I feel like the 100 is almost like a driftier ski than this, you know, where it's, you just don't get the same amount of mass in the 100. It's a thinner profile.
I'm not going to fight you on that.
Yeah, but it really makes nice, clean, round turns. You know, even a non-park skier like myself, I have a blast on this thing because you can really manipulate how the ski moves through softer snow. And then it is sturdy enough to find, you know, purchase on variable snow conditions and maintain its predictability.
Yeah. It is fascinating how, like, I mean, I don't remember putting anybody on an ARV and them having a bad time.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge range of skiing styles.
Yeah.
Like they're just really, really fun to ski. And it's kind of too bad that like more people don't consider a ski like this.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to just rule it out because you're not a park skier. Or like you've never been a park skier and you don't think you want a twin tip. Like my wife is not a park skier at all. She tried to hit that park jump once and tore ACL, so
It happens.
she's been in a terrain
Yeah.
park. But like every time she skis an ARW or an ARV, she's like, that's incredible, that's so much fun. And all she's doing is skiing forward
Yep.
and doing directional skiing things. So it's like, don't give it a chance, you know, if you're shopping in this category and you're not sure, if you can hop on one and give it a try, you know, I think it'll probably surprise you as it has surprised so many people that I've talked to.
And at this point, given Koala, Pandora, and ARV, we're moving really into what I consider to be either backcountry jumps or natural hit
Yeah,
realm.
I'm fine with that. I still feel like in this category we're narrow enough that like these could be inbounds resort daily
Yeah.
drivers and it's fine. Like if you told me that I had to ski a Nightstick 104 every day this upcoming season, I'd be like, okay.
I'd be pretty happy about it too. This thing's awesome.
It'd be fine.
Yeah.
And like not like I'd go build a backcountry jump every
Right.
day or so. Anyways, yeah, this one's an interesting one because both Bob and I really like it. I'd be like kind of inclined to say it might be my favorite Fischer right now, but I really like the 97 too. I think like there were a decent amount of people that were kind of bummed out that the pink Ranger 102 FR went away, and this actually kind of captures a lot of what that ski was really good at, and if anything, like Fischer knows that, and
Yeah.
gave it a really bright pink base as kind of a nod to that ski. So yeah, I'm really excited what they're doing with the Nightstick line. This is the Nightstick 104. It is pretty simple, but I do like that Fischer kind of approaches these skis with like pretty technical engineering and build. There's not like a ton of different materials, but it's like true vertical sidewalls, tip to tails, and like looks like a real
Yeah.
ski.
Bless you.
I think my warning still counts from, hopefully that's the last one. So anyways, poplar wood core, pretty simple in that regard. And then we get kind of a single partial sheet of Titanal right underfoot, and it's actually right along the base too. I've talked to Fischer about that a lot over the years, and for them, it's kind of two parts, one durability and one performance.
Yep.
It's helping with impact. So if you're hitting rails or if you're skiing this in freeride terrain and you're hitting rocks and stuff like that, that metal underfoot is going to reduce the amount of edge cracks that you're going to get or any other like blemishes, any sidewall defects.
Base
or anything.
damage,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just giving the ski a little bit more strength underfoot, which is nice. This is a 180 centimeter length, and we're at 1,950 grams on the scale here. And then I think this is really important to know about these skis. They're quite soft.
Yeah, and like amazingly, one of my favorite parts about this thing.
It's just super soft, and so
Yep.
it's like well built, metal underfoot, and a nice soft flex pattern. It is so smooth. It's got like unbelievable vibration damping. It's one of those skis that feels like it's just like has suspension. It's just like
Yep.
absorbing everything that it goes over, and then the shape gives it like, I think, a really, really fun personality. There's enough camber underfoot that you can load up some energy in the ski, and it's really easy to do that because it's not stiff. And then there's enough tip rocker and enough tail rocker that I think you can throw it sideways really easily. You know, there is like a lot of camber underfoot, but it's not stiff, so it's not fighting you if you put it sideways. It's not like the ski is trying to engage in its contact points and like get you to do something else. So it just gives it like a really, really fun overall kind of do whatever you want to do mentality. Like the ski's never going to complain. If you want to carve, it'll carve. You have to stay pretty balanced and kind of let the ski flex around you. And then if you want to ski off trail and slash and smear and do stuff like that, it's going to be really fun for that too. So I really like it. If anything, it captures a little bit of what I liked about the old Enforcer 104 Free. It's just a lot softer. It's lighter and softer, but just in terms of like the different turn shapes that you can make and the overall smoothness, to me it captures some of those vibes.
The Flex to me allows for accessibility.
Yeah.
Accessibility to the side cut. Accessibility to...
It's easy to get into anything. Yeah.
To versatility.
Yeah.
And I took these out on ski test day 3, I think, late in the afternoon, so real slushy. And incredibly easy, yet also extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
And like on paper, I'm a Ranger person, not a Nightstick person.
Right.
But on snow,
You like this.
I've gotten along with this 104 and that 97 so well.
Yeah.
They're
both really good.
fun skis.
Yeah. And like I've skied the 97 a ton in the park and love it.
Yeah.
This to me is getting a little wide for my personal preferences for park. Not too wide, but like there's a lot of, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of ski in the shovel.
Right there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I'm turned off a little bit to park potential just by the robustness of the ski right here. So.
Yeah. No, really fun. All right. Back to more Jeff-oriented Volkls. Revolt 104 here. Another ski that has not changed structurally.
For a long time.
Forever. We seen any structural changes in a Revolt 104?
No.
Just a new graphic. Lines up pretty well with that Blaze 104.
Do you think they got a discount
I don't know.
on the purple?
But what's funny is that everything you said about Volkl's use of sophistication and kind of the vastness of the scope of their construction standpoint
Does not
apply to Revolt 104. So, very simple poplar and beechwood core in here, and that's about it. We do get that full sidewall and a little bit thicker throughout. So this does, especially kind of in the shovel here, we do see less of a taper to thinness in the shovel of the ski. So there is a sturdy enough feel to the Revolt 104. We're at 1979, 1980 grams. What is the 180 or something like that?
I think so.
180. So yeah, there is enough substance here to make it hold up to pretty aggressive skiing, but the shape and profile do open it up to much more drifty and smeary styles. And this is just, Revolt's an interesting conversation too, because as a brand within a brand, there's so many differences. It is not cut and dry as width.
I talked about this in one of the ski test videos. I don't know if you've listened to it because you're sitting there while I edit all of them. So you may have heard me say that maybe it's in there subconsciously or something. But now with the addition of the 101, if you start at the 96, it's soft and playful, stiff and powerful. Now we're in 104, soft and playful, and then 114, stiff and powerful, and then 121, soft and playful. So
it alters.
It alters when you start with the 96 and go to the 121.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Very interesting.
And
not a linear progression at all.
Nope. And really the thing that keeps this thing in that soft and playful area more than that construction, the tail is very flexible, but it is also very differently shaped than anything that we see out here.
Like the shape is the thing that makes it soft, which is weird.
Which is weird. But really long rocker in this ski here, super floaty, really easy to stay on top of the snow. But then this tail taper is just vastly different than the tip shape.
Yeah.
So it creates a unique feel in the ski. So really, really, really narrow all throughout, and then it finally widens. So there's just a ton of early taper in this tail here, and it goes a long way. So the length of that early taper really makes this thing stand out. And kind of as we pointed to in some of these other skis, the narrower a ski is at the end, the more turny and steery it's going to be in deeper and softer snow. So if you kind of picture the extreme of, you know, riding your tails, you know, if you're riding your tails in deep snow, if that ski flares out at the end, it's just going to want to hook and make a turn. But if it's narrower and more pintailed, it allows you to really drift along and put your own input into kind of the duration and style of the turn. So for a 104, this is one of the most playful and creative floaters out there. The fact that it has that flex allows you to really easily manipulate it as well. So it's up to you. You know, it does require input in the sense that it has such a unique shape, whereas Enforcer 104 requires input to get that ski to carve and turn. This requires input in order to access the creativity. So it's a really interesting style of ski.
There's really nothing else like it.
I can't think of anything.
No.
Yeah, it's just so different, especially that tip to tail difference in taper just makes such an enormous difference. But yeah, I think I envision this as that backcountry hit thing, even though you think it's narrow.
You certainly could.
Yeah.
And like, I've seen plenty of clips of people hitting backcountry jumps on Revolt 104s.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. I think like plenty of inbounds resort capabilities too.
Yeah.
Like I know tons of people that ski park on the Revolt 104 and love it. Like our friend Eli.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a big Revolt 104 fan.
Yeah, super unique, really interesting ski. A little bit more camber than we see in other Volkl skis, which I think is
kind of need it.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do need it. If it wasn't, it would be super wiggly. So that keeps it at least, that and the weight keep it grounded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of more trustworthy than you'd think.
Yeah.
Like you can actually like push into the forebody of it in a carve. It's like, it doesn't like feel great carving, but it feels better than one might think.
Softer snow required.
Yeah, totally. Liberty Scope 104 here. We get another year for the Scope 104, and on paper it's very similar, but Liberty has changed these skis. You know, I think they listened to a lot of feedback. We've had a lot of conversations with them and given them our feedback. And yeah, the skis are like a little bit, I think they're a little bit more well-rounded now. I think like when we were first introduced to them, it was tough to think about them outside of the lens of like, these are the most maneuverable skis I've ever skied.
Right.
Almost to a fault, you know? Like they were still really fun. And like, if you love maneuverability and skiing trees and stuff like that, you're gonna have a fantastic time. Or like, they were all great in the park too, because they were really light and really agile.
Yeah.
They weren't great when you got up to speed, and now I think the new versions, they're just a little bit more well-rounded. And you know, it makes sense because they switched factories, they switched continents of where their skis are built. So it's going to take, nothing's, you know, it's not going to just be perfect right off the bat.
Yeah, and they don't have the capabilities of head to...
Yeah, the R&D.
To fire up the factory and be like, all right, we're making
like
a whole new thing.
15 different versions of this ski.
Yeah.
And then we'll go test them. Yeah.
Right.
So anyways, poplar wood core in this ski, and then we get a phenolic plate. So usually when we're talking about phenol, we're talking about race skis, and like we don't talk about phenol that much, period, because most skis don't have phenolic sidewalls anymore unless it is a race ski. Liberty uses it in a much different way. It's actually a horizontal sheet, which does have kind of some different properties to it. They're very light, these skis. What length do I have here?
172.
Thank you. I knew it was short-ish. Just over 1,700 grams, so a short-ish length, but still very, very light. And then really where this ski changed is like that's more ski than we had for 2025.
Yep.
Which I'm very happy about. You know, that's starting to be like a pretty darn trustworthy and strong shovel. So you can actually drive a turn on these skis a lot more than you could in the first version of them. but they still feel like some of the most agile, wiggly skis that I've ever been on. And I think it's a combination of the weight and like a good amount of tip rocker, this very rounded shape, and a good amount of tail rocker with the same kind of rounded shape. It's so easy to break free from a carve.
Yeah.
It's just like absolutely effortless. The way that these skis pivot on a dime is just very, very impressive. And now there's some strength to it too. So now you can benefit from what they've always been good at. Super, super agile in the trees, really maneuverable, really easy to ski. It makes like demanding technical terrain just all of a sudden feel pretty easy. You're like, oh, that was, like super, super tight shoot. You'll be down it in no time and feel like you didn't put any work in.
Yep.
You can still do all those things, but now you can open it up a little bit. You can let the ski run. You can trust it a little more if you're on firmer snow and you want to make a carve. So I just think they're coming around to a really nicely designed ski here. And it's not like I didn't appreciate the first version of this ski, but it left something to be desired if you wanted to ski fast.
Well, I
Also
think,
great change to the top sheet.
yeah.
This nice durable top sheet material. So I think Liberty's done a great job. Very fascinated to see what the next 10 years will bring for Liberty as a company.
It's interesting because we get on so many skis. So when we got on the Scope 104 last year, it was like, cool, something different.
Yeah.
And I think that you and I both appreciate.
It gave us something to talk about.
Yeah, and just things that are different, that are outliers, I guess. And this is more of a move to the middle with this new construction.
Yeah,
so
which is nice.
I think it's going to help Liberty.
Yeah, and I think it still belongs over on that side of the wall. But now, if you had a friend that had a QST 106 and you were chasing your friend around and they skied pretty fast, on this ski you can keep up and you're going to feel like you can hang. On the previous ski, it would have been a bit nerve-wracking at times. So, good job from Liberty.
And speaking of unique skis, it's fun to end on, I guess, one of the more unique skis on this wall, the Salomon Depart 1.0.
Yeah, should we share it since we've each done 10 skis so far?
Well, yeah, I was going to certainly ask you your opinion of this. I did the ski test video portion of this ski, and someone was upset that you didn't do it.
Oh, really?
So I was going to incorporate some of your input into this ski for sure. Upset is
an exaggeration.
Sarcastically upset. They want to get your feedback on it, I suppose, more than mine.
It's super weird.
Yeah, and it's also interesting how it fits into Salomon's line, both past and present.
Yeah.
So Depart 1.0 built with a blend of poplar and caruba in the wood core. So that is, for me, bringing up notes of a QST 106 Echo.
Yep.
So more Echo-oriented construction, a little bit lighter and more maneuverable. 1,632 grams. This is the shorter of the two lengths. So we get a 170 or a 180, which I always find interesting, especially given the fact that there's bigger skiers out there that you don't get. You get one of these.
I've heard rumors of more Depart development.
Yeah. So I'm into that, obviously. And then the shape is very, BBR inspired.
Yeah.
I don't know, early 2000s or whatever. It was kind of a very interesting shape for a ski. This really sharp and then really wide shovel. And then tail shape is a little bit more normal, I guess, but still different enough to warrant that conversation. I look at that and I don't think this is the most twin tip freestyle oriented ski on this wall. This looks more normal and directional to me.
Yep.
Which is, I think, an interesting thing about the Depart.
That's a fair response. An excellent reflection of how weird park skiing has gotten, and in a good way.
Yeah.
Being weird is good. Like I totally mean that in 100% positive sense. But yeah, it's very interesting. So I like my perception of this ski has changed a lot since the first time I skied it. So when I first heard about this ski, I was told the width, and I was told that it had a 14-meter turn radius. And in my mind, I went to things like Stranger and Sakana and like fun skis that make short radius carves. And while this ski can make a short radius carve, in my experience, what I've found is it really doesn't want to carve. Like, you can do it,
Yeah.
but it's really not what the ski wants to do. Like, this tip shape is so unique that it like kind of never wants to engage. You know what I mean? Like, it just
Yeah.
kind of like keeps going.
It makes the radius seem independent of the rest of the ski.
It's very interesting. So really, like, in my opinion, the best way to ski this thing is with like a fully surfy mentality.
Like a two-footed mentality, equal weight, equal balance,
Yeah.
center.
Yep. Yep. Like, it looks like a surfboard,
Yeah.
right? And if you ski it like a surfboard, it's really fun. And like, it can be hard to think about like, how does that translate to park skiing or like, especially urban skiing. But in situations like that, you often need to like release your edge really quickly. Like, whether you're buttering or whether you like come off of a rail weird and you have to like get out of it, it just lets you do all those things. It's really easy to manipulate, and it's really easy to swivel. So like, forward to switch or switch to, you know, it's like, it just like, you can get it to do that incredibly easily, which gives you like a really unique set of tools for doing tricks. It's certainly not for everybody, and it's still it's like pretty weird, but
Yeah. I think the fact that it's two sizes, it has an odd shape and style, and that marketing really pushed it towards, like you said, like urban park.
yeah. I mean, I
Like-
still think that's who should be buying it. I don't think like if you're just
It's
like
weird.
no, but if you're just an all mountain skier and like you're not gonna go slide rails and like do
Yeah.
weird things on rails, just buy a QST 106
Right.
or a QST 100. Like, either one's gonna satisfy an all mountain skier way more than a Depart. You need to have the internal desire to do some weird stuff,
Yeah.
and then you'll love it.
I know, like, I just find it weird when marketing dictates more of the intended use of the ski.
I mean, it's more athlete. Like,
Yeah.
you could say that that's marketing, I suppose, but it's more like Salomon's athletes made a ski, and then they told Salomon how they wanted them to market it.
Right.
And like, you can't say that that's wrong because the athletes are the one that made the ski. They made the ski that they want. And they're all urban skiers that slide a lot of rails and do weird stuff on skis.
I just liked it more when Line, said, all right, we're making Visions. This is a lightweight freeride
Sure.
ski, do what you wish. Whereas like 2 years before, they were like, this is a touring ski.
Yeah.
So it's,
No, that's fair.
it just opens it up more to the user. Like, do you think you're alienating people through marketing to enjoy a Depart?
No.
That's my biggest fear.
I think they're accurately
Okay.
communicating what the ski should be used for.
All right.
Because it like, and again, like that's been my experience too. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, this thing's gonna be sweet. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna want to ski this all the time. And having skied it in several different situations, yeah, now I'm like, no, I want to ski in the park, and like that's about it.
Yeah. All right.
So it is actually really fun in soft snow. But then like, I'd rather ski a QST 106.
Right.
So yeah, very interesting ski. It just kind of like plows and then goes like this. In a good way.
Yeah.
So anyways, fun one to end on. And that's it. We did it.
Did it.
My back hurts. I don't have my comparison video stamina yet.
We'll work up to it.
Yeah,
Plenty more to go.
exactly. So that's it. That was, I think, 21 different Freeride skis ranging from 103 to 108 underfoot. As always, let us know if you have any questions. We've got ski test feedback on all these skis as well. Yeah, look out for the next one. I don't actually know what we'll do next because Bob and I are both taking a little time off after this video is filmed, but we'll have another comparison video up. Should be within a week or maybe within 8 days. So keep an eye out for that. Let us know if you have any questions and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.